This is how your tabletop is going to come packed. We've got foam all around the outside edge. We've got cardboard protecting the tabletop, and then it is also wrapped with a clear protective plastic wrap on the inside. So these things can be a little difficult to get into sometimes if you don't have a little bit of direction. So one of the things we said here was cut along foam, do not cut into cardboard. Definitely don't want to just tear that apart. But this is held on by tape all around the edges. So if you grab yourself a knife, you can actually just run your knife along the edge all the way around. And then this piece will just come right off. And then you'll be able to pull that foam off and tear the tape. But yeah, you want to just be as careful as possible. Obviously, don't go all the way into the foam. You could puncture the tabletop, but just cut along the edge to release this off of the top. This is the assembly process video for the PodDesk Trio. And we've got this laid out in our barn here, but I'm going to show you the pieces that you will receive in your shipment. So you will receive your top, the tabletop. You will receive this front panel. It's already pre-assembled to a point. You're going to have these 4 blocks. You're going to have 5 legs. Everything's numbered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you're going to have a hardware box that has panel installation hardware, leg installation hardware, and then another little goodie bag. As you can see here, the legs are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's very important that those legs go in the proper slots, simply because some of these have a piece of Velcro that's going to help hold that front panel in place once those legs are installed and once that panel's installed. So we're going to show you leg installation first. So you'll go ahead and grab each leg according to its number and then set those down in place. You'll see that it will only align one way. So those holes will line up with those threaded inserts. And then once you have those legs lined up, you'll just begin this installation process. You've got your leg installation hardware bag. Dump all that out. Each screw is going to get a washer. So you'll put that on, and what you want to do is just line up those holes, and then you'll want to loosely install each one of those screws just to make sure the plate's aligned. And then once you have everything aligned, you're going to go ahead and use the Allen key provided and tighten everything down with a nice tight twist of that Allen key. And so you'll do that for all 5 legs. And then we'll move to the part where we install the front panel. Once you have all of your table legs installed and all of the hardware is tightened down nicely with that Allen key, you're going to go to your hardware box and you're going to grab this bag that Jake already has here, the panel installation hardware bag. And there's 4 places here along this front edge. There's a groove here, which is where the front panel is going to sit. And we have hardware that's pre-installed. And so then what you're going to do is install your dowels from the bag into those open holes there. And there's just 4 of them. Get all your dowels installed. So once you've installed all of the dowels into those holes, you're going to take these threaded rods and you'll just kind of hand tighten them into this threaded insert and then finish tightening it down with the screwdriver that we've provided. And you'll do that on all 4. So once you have all of that hardware installed with the dowel and the threaded rod all the way this way. We're going to end up flipping over this table. You need 2 people to do it. Be very careful at this point in the process. And essentially what's going to happen is this front panel, these holes here, are going to line up with these rods and dowels. The top part of this that's sticking up is going to go down into that groove. And then once that's installed, we'll have to get under the table and tighten on the lock nuts to make sure that everything stays in place. So at this point, once your table is upright, we're going to lift the front of the table using these spacers. Jake's going to show you exactly where to place them. So you do 2 under the outer front leg and 2 under the other outer front leg. So now we've got our table elevated off of the ground, and that's going to allow us to take this panel and flip it up under the table, line the holes up with the threaded rod and the dowels, and then the top of that panel will go into that groove. Once we have everything locked and secured, we'll lower the table. So the point here is these 2 holes are going to line up with this dowel and this rod. And it's the same for each one here at the front. So go ahead and watch us install that. So at this point what we're doing is we've got all of the dowels and rods lined up. It's not in all the way yet, but we're going to go ahead and remove the blocks, and that's going to bring the table down. And so the pressure of the table will help close this gap a little bit. So once you have that panel lined up and you've dropped the blocks out from under the table, you may need to go back and just kind of tap on the front of the table a little bit to push in that panel. It'll help close that gap a little bit. And then the next part here is getting under the table with that screwdriver. And if you have one that's longer, that's a flathead or a Phillips, it may help you get a little bit more leverage. But as you can see, the arrow on this is pointed up. And so Jake is going to tighten that by turning it clockwise until that arrow is down or almost all the way down. And so that one locked in nice and tight. So you will do this one, and then there's 2 more down on that side. So you'll lock 1, 2, 3, and 4. So once you've locked that panel into place, everything's ready to go. You can start setting up your podcast table. You'll notice here that each space has a grommet and then a dot. And so if you ordered the Elgato boom arms from us, we would have sent you hardware. We'll show you how to install that in just a second. But one of the features is that you can flush mount those arms by each one of these grommets. You have 6 options. Each one of these covers comes off. You can run all your cables down under the bottom of the table. And then you also have a power outlet. It's already pre-installed there. And then under your table, we have a power strip, and then there are cable clips all along the bottom of the table that will allow you to run all of your cables as you need to. One tip here is that you can plug this large outlet into your power strip. Make sure your power strip is on with that. And then you can run that cable down a leg and then run it to an outlet in the back or wherever you need to run that off, and you'll just make sure you have an extension cord to get you to where you need to go. One other thing that we'll send you in the hardware bag that you might not have seen earlier in the video is this table care kit. There's a dust removal cloth, which is a tack cloth, so it is a bit sticky. And then you get a microfiber towel. We don't recommend using any kind of harsh chemicals on your tabletop. What you'll find is that after assembling it, you may have some fingerprints or some dust you picked up from the floor. And so you can use a light mist of water to clean these tops off. Use your dust rag or use your microfiber towel. Get your table all nice and clean and ready for production. So at this point, your table's pretty much ready to go. If you ordered from us the Elgato boom arms, you will have received those with your order, and you'll get one of these hardware bags, and then you'll get your Elgato arm, and the base will already be detached from the arm. Your table here is set up with 6 places where these arms can mount, and you'll see these little dots here. And so how this works is we'll send you mounting hardware, and you've got a screw, you've got 2 washers, rubber washers, and a metal washer. So how this will work is you'll do your metal washer first, your rubber washer second, and you'll come from the bottom and push up. That cap will come out. You can save that. And then you've got another rubber washer. Set that down. Take your metal base. You're going to hand tighten that on there as best as you can get it. And then your Elgato arm is going to sit right in like that. And then you'll be able to position that mic however you need to.